This is Bruce. Bruce is a little bit nervous about a lot of things. We just talked a lot off camera about how to help him with that, but in this video we're going to go over how to create what we call a conditioned emotional response. Basically, these dogs do not like the leash. And so you see that, I pull it up and he just looked at it and started moving away. What I want to do is I want to start creating a positive association. So what I'm going to do is I primed the clicker earlier. If you're never clicker trained, make sure you prime the clicker before you do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it up. Just looking at it is going to get him a treat. So you see now when I move it, he's not recoiling. Let me see if we can get you over here, buddy, so that this is better camera presence. We'll put it next to your fine work on the floor. There we go. Now, he's a little guy, so I'm tearing these treats in half. But the first stage of this is simply, he looks at it and a treat appears. Looks at it. Now, when he looks at it is the point that I'm clicking. I want him to understand the looking at it is when you click, you're saying the treat is about to come. And sometimes you might have to actually move this behind your back. So he's a rescue dog. He might have had somebody put a leash on him and start pulling and jerking around. The old way of training was a lot of leash corrections, punishment based. I don't use that. And so sometimes the dogs get scared of the leashes. So every time he looks at the leash, he gets a click and then immediately gets a treat afterwards. And you can see he's still cowering. So you want to stay at this stage until no matter how you throw that thing up there, he just looks at it right away without any hesitation or moving back or cowering. Next stage is I would hold it up here, and I'm not going to be able to show you all the stages because this is going to take a little bit of time. But not just minutes, but you're going to have to practice this a lot. So when I get to the point where holding it up no longer gets him to respond, let's get you back on the camera, buddy. Here, let me put it down, make it easier for you. Then the next step is I would hold it up, and I'm only going to click if he touches it with his nose. I'm just going to hold it there. Don't move it around, keep it static. If he's really nervous, you might do something like this, where you put it on the ground. I would prefer to hold it and have them come over and initiate contact, but if they're really scared, you can do this. He's now approaching the things he's fearful of and looking at it. Now I'm out of treats, so I'm just going to describe the rest of this. So basically, what we want to do is the first stage is just looking at it gets me a click and then a treat, and then touching it gets me a lick and a click and a treat. Then the next stage, what I would do is I would make this sound, and he looks at a click, and I would give him a treat, because this sound is unique. And so until the sound, he no longer tries to move away or is tense. Next stage is I would just go like this, reach towards him, and as I'm reaching towards him, he looks at click, treat. So not even attaching his leash. What we're doing is we're breaking this down into small steps that he's able to process and handle. And we don't move on to the next step until he shows me I'm completely calm and comfortable with that first step, or with each step that comes after that. And eventually, just so this motion is going to probably cause him to move away. Well, but now I'm tossing the treats on the ground, he's coming forward and giving the treats. And again, we're not attaching them. So by the time you actually get to the point where you're attaching this, you've probably done this like 150 times. Now, every time you take him on, put him on a leash and take him for a walk, that's going to backtrack you a little bit. So I would try to really emphasize this a lot in a short period of time and avoid walks and instead playing fetch, using the laser and some of the other exercise things that we talked about inside. But eventually you get to the point where he'll come, like I said, he's walking up to it and touching it with his nose. Then when you're starting to reach underneath, so it won't be actually like this. Maybe the next stage, once he comes over to it, then I just start going towards where I'm going to attach it on him. And if he starts backing away, oh, that was good. Then that means I back up the previous step and practice the step over and over again. But eventually it gets to the point where you attach it to his leash, to his harness, and then you give him a treat after it. So now we create a positive association, and we don't go for a walk. Now the walks I think are positive for them once they get on the walk. It's just this part of the walk. And so once we get them through this, we're just creating a positive association. So like the leash comes out, I get treats. I like treats, I like the leash. It gets conflated together. All right, so this is how you can create a conditioned emotional response to help a dog get over a fear of something that they're normally leery of or reactive to.